Hey everybody, welcome to Geek Addicts.
Hello and welcome to Geek Addicts, the pop culture podcast where we mutate as many people as possible into, I don't know, a jellyfish. My
Water.
name is Matt. With me, the professor of podcasting, Bill Barber. How's it going, Bill?
It'd be scary if I was the professor of podcasting. No, everyone would be like losing their minds.
Editing? What's that?
Actually, I had to do that recently for a little project I just put out. It was actually right before this episode. So if anyone wants to see the Dime of Time supercut, yeah, there's that.
Yes, and since we will be doing like a Dime a Time-esque segment going forward for other things, there will likely be more of those. And I can only imagine how like weird and disjointed and all over the place they are, just because they're, I mean, it's like what, 20 weeks worth of fucking shit. I mean, obviously, like there was a couple weeks where we doubled up and stuff like that, but
Yeah. Well, my favorite is the one where we're like, nah, we're not going to do a Dime of Time. And then we ended up doing one anyways.
we ended up doing 2 episodes anyways.
Yeah. There's that one. There's like I cut out a lot of the in between like kind of banter that we didn't really need, and I just kind of made it. I made it work as best I could.
Gotcha. I still ended up being like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, the best is like towards the end where it's like where I'm like, I don't know if I got spoiled, but maybe it's just kind of like we'll see. And then the next step, the next part just goes, I didn't get spoiled.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah, it took a good couple hours to edit, but it's out now at the time of this release, so
yeah, you just got back from a con.
I sure did. I think by the time so no, this will be out before the our episode on GNC talking about it, but yeah, I just got back from Rhode Island Comic Con.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was good. Long day. Driving to Rhode Island kind of sucks, but that's driving anywhere. A lot of people who have
A lot of that.
yeah, a lot of people who have very clearly haven't left their house all year. This was their one time going out.
Did they put on deodorant at least?
It was like 50-50 like usual.
Yeah, that's about right.
I brought deodorant and I had it proudly displayed in the back of my backpack for everyone to see. So
You should just keep that. Would be like a funny thing is if we just like went to a con as like makeshift superheroes and the utility belt was just filled with like deodorant, like stick deodorant, spray deodorant. Like it's just, I'm deodorant man.
The greatest cosplay I've ever seen is a guy cosplaying as a speed stick and he was giving out speed stick to people.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh man, I was like that. I'm like, yes, thank you, sir. You're doing a service.
He's doing the Lord's work, is what he's doing.
I went to a gaming con once that had a table that was giving out free deodorant too. I was just like, I love that they're just playing into it now.
I mean, that should just be standard fare at every con. Let's be real.
I always bring it with me just because even waiting in line to get into the place, like by the time you get in, you're like, oh yeah, I need to reapply because it's bad.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy that burns people's noses when they walk by.
Yeah. God forbid you get to scratch the top of your head.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, it was okay. It was pretty low key. I think it's only the 3rd year they've been doing a Rhode Island Anime Con. It was funny because it was basically the same as Rhode Island Comic Con, but it was like super watered down and a lot less people were there, which was nice. I didn't have to do the convention shuffle at all. It was like the low key old days of Anime Boston before that became like this massive, insane thing.
Yeah. Did you get any good pickups?
I got a few figures. I got a couple keychain things for my wall over there. I found one game. I got a Japanese PSP game of Shining Sword or Blade, Shiny Blade, I think. That'll be
Okay.
cool to check out. I also got this big 3D printed Pokemon Emerald cartridge.
Nice.
So that'll be in the game room somewhere. Um, no real art this year because I'm running out of wall space.
You
Yeah, other
got plenty of
than
room in your stairwell. I mean, obviously, like you want to have it somewhat,
I
you
don't want it
know,
to be just art everywhere.
reasonable.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a bit more selective now. We also were the convention center was connected to a mall, so of course we had to walk around the mall, and we there was a Newbury Comics there. And I found the next volume of Comey while I was in there, and I was like, hell yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it was pretty fun though. We kind of walked through they had a bunch of signings and stuff, meeting voice actors. Not didn't actually meet any of them because I'm not that interested, but I thought it was interesting. Johnny Young Bosch had by far the longest line.
Not surprising.
Your Lloyd and Anya were all there. That was fun.
Oh, interesting.
And the funniest one to me was Rimaru's voice actress was there, and I looked over and I just went, Alex, I said jump. And Alex was like, can we go? I'm like, you're not gonna say that to her. And she's like, yeah, I know.
Jump. I said jump.
I said jump. Just the fact that that's the same actress is just great.
That's so funny.
But yeah, we did that. Went to Cheesecake Factory. Fun times.
Very nice. Very nice.
We drove home in an absolute downpour.
Yeah, that's kind of like all over New England right now.
Yeah, it unfortunately is.
My father-in-law got hit with it driving back from New Hampshire. Well, he was coming back from Maine. It hit him in New Hampshire when he was heading home today. And I mean, as you can at least to some degree tell, we're kind of getting it here right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Life update. I fucking fucked my hand up at work.
What happened anyway?
I was running a machine in like one of the lathes, and it caught a chip of like razor sharp steel, and then grabbed like this entire just like bush of steel, and it like wrapped around the chuck, and it just like it nailed me in the hand. And then when I went to stop the machine, it got me in the arm too.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so I was. It looks a lot better than it did when it happened. It was like bleeding everywhere, and I was like, "Oh fuck, what do I do?" Yeah, and then I washed it off, and once it stopped bleeding, I was like, "Oh, it's not actually that bad. It just looks bad."
It always looks worse than it actually is.
I just covered it in antiseptic spray, and I was like, "All right, back to work." Because it's not like I got to go home after that.
God forbid. People need their golf balls, Bill.
I wasn't even making anything relevant to the golf balls. That's the funniest part. I was just fucking. I don't even remember what I was doing. I kind of like. I was like, I don't feel like working anymore after that.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, fun times.
So, I think I had mentioned that I had ordered volumes 5 and 6 of the Fruits Baskets.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the notification that they had arrived yesterday, and I went and grabbed them. I opened them up. They sent me 2 and 6. So now I get to go through all the fun of sending it back and having them send me the right one.
That's
apparently somebody doesn't know the difference between a 2 and a 5, apparently.
Yeah. I mean,
I've been dyslexic.
Me and Alex will be up next weekend, so I will try and make some time to stop by at least and drop you this one. So.
That'd be cool. Maybe I can finally give you that. I mean, I know you already bought it digitally and we already recorded the episode, but I'll still give you that extra set of the stand that I have.
Fair.
Oh, you still have a physical copy of it.
Oh, I did see at Newbury too, that you might be interested in. They re-released Howl's Moving Castle, the novel.
I'm waiting because I was actually looking into that recently, and they are doing like a really, really nice hardcover collector's edition in September. It's one of those ones that like has like all the designs on like the side of the pages.
Gotcha.
It's all like painted nice and illustrations and shit. So I'm waiting for that to come out. I'm gonna pre-order that.
Yeah, that was just when I was waiting in line. I saw they had like 6 copies of it just sitting there. I was like, oh, that's out now.
Yeah, so I'm getting that nice copy. You know, I can't help it when I see like a really, really nice copy of a book. I'm like, oh man.
I just thought it was. I thought it was really funny. They like shoved it in with all the with all the manga, and I'm like, it's not even it's not even really a light novel. It's just straight up an English novel. But sure, why not?
Yeah, it's not even from Japan. It's
Yeah.
actually like one of the furthest points away from Japan as you can get.
Oh yeah. I just think it's funny. But yeah, that was cool. First con of the year down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna do Anime Boston again next year though, because that one's a bit
You
more
are,
step.
you're not, are or not?
Probably next year we're gonna
Oh, okay.
go back to Boston.
Well, that'd be nice. Maybe I'll try to swing it. It'd be cool to go to a con together.
Yeah. Ooh. But
Also, I won the game club again.
oh, did you?
I beat Mega Man X2 today.
Oh, sweet. Did you already? I haven't been on the Discord at all since I took a
Yeah,
power nap when I got home.
I don't blame you. Yeah, I posted it on there, and I had to get the credit before somebody else did it.
Oh, nice.
But
Oh yeah, yeah. There we go.
man, I was like really fucking myself there for a minute because
Yeah,
I didn't get any of Zero's parts
yeah. That'll.
or like any of the power ups aside from just what you get from the bosses. So like, yeah, I kind of fucked myself, man. Zero was actually harder than like the final boss, honestly. Eventually, I got the pattern down, but it was fucking rough, man. And then you don't get a chance to heal before like between the Zero fight and like the final boss.
Mm.
Luckily, there are like the final boss spawns mobs, and you can get healing items from them. But it was still rough. It was still rough. I think I'm gonna take a little break from Mega Man now. At this point, I've beaten like.
Did you go out of your way to get the Shoryuken?
No, like I said, I didn't get any like the extra shit. I like only got the stuff that you get from like the main bosses that you're supposed to fight.
You were just determined because you wanted to force everyone to play Legacy of Goku too.
I'm sure plenty of people still won't play it, but they should because it's a good game.
Maybe I'll try. I'm not going to promise, but maybe I'll try.
It's easy once you get into it, man. It's easy to just fly through it, and you already know the story. You can just skip through the dialogue shit.
True. That's very true. Oh boy.
I love those games too, though, because they use like a fucking like a 16-bit version of the Faulkner music, and it actually works so fucking well.
Yeah.
In game format.
It was actually really funny though at the con. I was like, one of my con things is like I'm always like I have to find like the one piece of Inuyasha merch that like I can because it's so fucking rare these days. So I got this one little like tiny postcard that was like hand drawn of Inuyasha and Kagome. I was like, all right, I got my Inuyasha merch for the day.
It's funny you say that because as soon as I beat X2, I put on Inuyasha.
Nice.
I get that. I'm at the point in the show where the ending theme is Sesshomaru staring at his dad's corpse.
You're at the best ending theme in anime history.
Actually, I actually really like that. But I left off because the last episode I watched, a lot of shit happens in that episode because it establishes the guy who created the Tetsaiga. Inuyasha masters the Wind Scar. We see the we get introduced to the Tenseiga. We get introduced to Rin. We get introduced to Koga, like all in one episode.
Yeah, Inuyasha is such a weirdly paced show, but I love it. Like, because you'll get
like the beginning is so fast paced, and then like somewhere in the middle, it kind of slows down.
What's crazy is though it has like barely any bullshit filler. I want to say because there's a lot of filler that you won't even realize is filler because Inuyasha does filler so well. Like whenever I think Inuyasha filler, like the funniest part was like when I was reading the manga, I'd like get to like points and I'd be like, oh wait, that was filler because it's not in the manga. Like the giant like Kagome and Inuyasha like puppets.
I don't remember that one. I haven't gotten there yet.
You'll get there eventually, or like the entire like school festival arc, which is like one of the best parts of the anime. Like that's all filler.
Yeah, I haven't watched a ton this week because I've been watching the Mr. Mercedes series, which by the way, because I just got to season 3 like yesterday or the day before. Turns out Kate Mulgrew was in the show, and Just put it in perspective. Mr. Mercedes is a fairly recent show. The book itself actually is fairly recent. So she's pretty old. And she's like banging a 20-year-old, and like I can never see her the same way because this is like literally a scene of her like underneath this 20-year-old. You just see the dude's ass, just like on. He just give. Oh my god! I was like, I can't. Janeway, no. What have you done?
I knew she was a crazy bitch.
I was like, oh god, I'll never see this bitch the same way ever again.
Isn't it like bringing up Inuyasha again real quick though? Isn't it crazy? Like the Ocean cast, like going back and be like, damn, they were good.
They definitely get there. It seemed a little rough at the beginning, but I mean that's just kind of like older anime dubs at the time. That's just how they were, and like as it went on, it would get better. But yeah,
That's just so funny because Ocean used to dub like everything, and then they realized it was expensive as shit, so they just stopped using Ocean. But it's why I realized like if they ever redid like Inuyasha, I would hate it because they're definitely not going to get the original cast back.
Well, they physically can't at this point.
Well, none of them are dead.
Kirby Morrow.
Oh yeah, right. Well, they just get they probably just get Ian James Corlett.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's who did it in Yashahime.
Didn't was it Richard Ian Cox? Is that who plays Inuyasha?
Yeah.
Didn't he play Goku at one point?
Supposedly he played Goku in
Was it the Kai dub?
It's the supposed dub of Kai that Ocean did that's apparently lost media because it's impossible to find. Like it's just not out there at all. But I want to hear it.
Kind of funny. Maybe if they did replace Moroku in that way though, like it'd be kind of funny. It's just like, oh, we just replaced one Goku actor with another Goku actor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Silly.
Well, it's fun because Goku had like 3 actors in the original Ocean dub.
Yeah.
It was Ian James Corlett, then Peter Kalamis, and then Kirby Morrow for like the rest of it.
Yeah, I think Kirby Morrow was like from like Androids onward, or like Cell games, like beginning of the Cell games onward, something like that.
Yeah,
I'd love to get like a full, like the whole of Z with the Ocean dub. Like I'd love to see what that looks like, but
I know you can find it online, but like getting it physically,
you can find like clips and stuff, but like getting the whole show, like I don't think so.
Yeah. The only other thing too is like obviously like Kagome's VA is retired, so they'd never get her back.
Which one? The original?
The original, yeah. I mean, they could get Kira Tozer back, but because they did for Yashahime. Well, I mean, they wouldn't because they wouldn't get the Ocean dub, period. But
Gotcha.
They have a better chance of getting David K because he's technically US based now. But
but yeah, that's pretty much been my week. I haven't really done a wicked lot. Just been working on Mega Man, fucking doing family shit, working.
Yeah, no, I hear that. The new Apothecary finally came out. I guess last week they just skipped a week or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just for whatever reason. I did notice that Japan had a new episode. So I was worried that like we only had one more episode left because we like caught up to the Japanese, weirdly enough.
No, I think it was just the dubs behind because there's like 5 episodes left, I believe.
Good.
So
because there's a lot of stuff to wrap up, and I was really upset we didn't get one last week because with all the shit that was going on with fucking Jinshi, like that was an intense episode for him. Like we saw a different side of that motherfucker.
Yeah. I don't want to get your hopes up, but he doesn't appear in the new episode.
I mean, I kind of figured because it's called Festival, so it's it's gonna revolve around Mao Mao and what she's doing.
It's mostly Mao Mao shenanigans. So
I mean, I'm not gonna be upset about that. So
it ends in another cliffhanger though, so be prepared.
I mean, of course it is. It's at the end of the season.
True. Yeah, I got nothing else, so we should probably hop into our topic.
Might as well.
So we're doing another superhero comic book film review, I guess you could say. Um, I think we established we were going to do DC, Marvel, Marvel going forward. Um,
For the
so
most
we're
part, I mean, we might mix it up from time to time, but
yeah,
at least to
uh,
start, that's how we're doing it.
yes. So for this one, we are covering X-Men, the original Fox 2000 movie. Probably like the one of the first like I guess modern superhero films.
Hmm. Well, see, that's the thing is like as I was watching it, like I kind of had like a weird realization, like how X-Men and the first of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, like they kind of like the beginnings of like the two different families when it comes to superhero films, because in a lot of ways, like I feel like Spider-Man kind of established like the modern like kind of like good boy superhero movies,
Hmm.
and then X-Men was like this is the beginning of like the Dark Knight era type of superhero movie.
Yeah, yeah, because like during this period of time, like DC was going to be in like movie purgatory for a while, because they really wouldn't find their footing again until Batman Begins in like 2005. So,
Then they lost it again pretty soon after.
well, they had the Dark Knight. Like the Dark Knight is still considered like,
Well, I mean like the trilogy, and then after that,
well, yeah, yeah. I mean, they wouldn't have a truly well received film again until Wonder Woman. So
and I'm hearing a lot of good things about that Superman movie coming up. So
I'm looking forward to that. Like that is I told Alex today. I'm like I want to have at least one good Superman movie during my lifetime.
Mhm.
Um,
For
because
sure,
we've had two so far, and both have been mediocre at best. So
yeah.
yeah, we'll see. Maybe this third time's the charm. Um, you know what's crazy about X Men though? Watching it again
What's
for like
that?
the this movie is like out of like all the modern superhero movies, which I think started with this film. This one feels the oldest. Like watching this, I was like,
Yeah,
"Damn, this is old. Like this is an
for
old film."
sure. And like right at the top, like I want to say that I I s- I don't know if it's just nostalgia goggles or if it is just a good movie, but I really enjoyed this movie.
It's a very well
But
paced, well structured film.
but there are definitely a lot of points where I'm like, why did that happen that way? That didn't make any sense. Like,
There's also a lot of moments where I watch this and I'm just kind of like, they really went out of their way to make this unlike the comics as much as they could.
yeah. Well, I mean, even just saying like, oh, like Storm, Scott, and Jean were like my first. I mean, two of those, yes. Storm didn't come until later in the comics.
Yeah, but they were going off of what was relevant at the time.
I mean, the movies just kind of like did their own thing, which is fine. You know, like I say, like as long as the characters are well represented, couldn't care less.
Yeah, they had a good amount of them in this film too, which is actually kind of crazy.
Yeah. The only other
Because
weird thing about like how they like changed it up is like Iceman was supposed to be one of those originals, like one of the first five X-Men, but he was like a kid.
yeah, yeah, Iceman's a bit interesting, especially because his character goes on a very different route in the comics, like later on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's funny and it's interesting too. Like direction wise, the film was directed by Bryan Singer. He's probably the most recurring director of X Men films.
Hmm.
Because he did this one, he did X2, and then he later came back and did Days of Future Past and Apocalypse. Three of those films are very well received.
Yeah.
So, um,
Until you said Apocalypse, I was going to say, oh, all the best ones.
yeah, yeah, which is kind of funny because Bryan Singer is like one of the most hit or miss directors I can think of. Because
Mhm.
he also did Superman Returns. So yeah,
So I don't know if I'm mixing people up. Um, did he did he do Apt Pupil? Right? Do you have his thing up right now?
well, oh geez. I love when you bring up your Wikipedia page and there's an entire tab dedicated to sexual assault allegations.
Then it yeah, it probably is the same guy then, because I've heard of
Oh,
I've heard of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
and he was somehow involved with Star Trek. Oh, he played an actor in Star Trek Nemesis. Great. Which film was it? Oh, App People. Yeah, he was the director of that.
I thought so. Which is funny because I had that movie in my mind too, because this film starts out with like seeing like little Magneto pretty much like during the Holocaust. Like as a like little Jewish boy, and he's going through a bunch of bad shit.
Yeah.
And I find that really ironic because just a couple of years previous, Ian McKellen, who plays adult Magneto in this film, played a Nazi general,
Yeah.
like a retired Nazi general. It's just like a weird, like he went from playing a Nazi to playing a Holocaust survivor.
I didn't realize he was a apparently Brian Singer was a producer and a writer on for X-Men First Class, which is
No, it would
considered
make sense that he'd be involved. At least.
which is considered one of the better X-Men films. Interesting. Yeah, I was like, I didn't know much about him other than he was a very hit or miss director. Then I see that entire tab and I'm like, oh, lovely.
Yeah, yeah, because
Lovely.
I heard about that because of that movie I mentioned at Pupil, because that's a Stephen King adaptation.
Mm.
And I heard that got brought up on a Stephen King podcast I was listening to for a while. It's like
Well,
they
because
mentioned that. It's like, oh,
the
yikes.
last time I've heard of him directing anything is he's technically credited as the director for Bohemian Rhapsody, but apparently he only did like the early pre-production stuff and got fired and replaced like halfway through. But because he started it, he has to be credited as director.
Hmm.
But yeah, he did a great job on X-Men though. So I'll leave it at that. Um,
Yeah.
Also, fun fact: the screenplay was written by David Hayter. And those who don't know, David Hayter is the voice of Solid Snake in Metal Gear.
No shit.
Yeah, he was the writer of this film and I believe X2, which
Hmm.
would make a lot of sense because he did not write The Last Stand. And holy shit, the writing between 2 and Last Stand, it's like, yeah, I can see the difference there.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I like aspects of Last Stand, but it's
it's
definitely the as far as like a beginning to end story, it's definitely the weakest of the three
oh yeah, like
originals.
it is the downgrade is immense. Like going from 2 to 3, it's like, oh, like because different director, different writers. So I was like, huh. And it's based off of one of the most iconic films in the series, storylines in X-Men history.
Hmm.
But yeah. So going back though to the original X-Men, that interesting fact I noticed, and then we also get some very iconic actors in this film, in basically in some of their most iconic roles, like obviously top billed Patrick Stewart, famously Captain Picard, in probably his second most famous role as Professor Xavier.
Hmm. This is one of those like how we mentioned in the last superhero film we did with Spider-Man, how J.K. Simmons was like one of those people who is like made to play this role. That's how I feel about Patrick Stewart as Professor X. Like
Yeah.
who else could be like the old man Professor X? Like nobody else could do it the way he does it.
Hmm. Hugh Jackman, of course, as Wolverine, Logan. I remember too. This was a criticized casting back in the day. Like people said, didn't understand and thought Fox was crazy,
Yep.
and that now he literally is the character to the point where I don't even know how they're going to recast him for future films. Um, Ian McKellen as Magneto, iconic role.
Hmm.
Halle Berry as Storm. Really funny too because she was later Catwoman, which is just a hilarious dichotomy there.
Yeah. Right.
Um, Femek Jensen as I think that's how I pronounce that as Jean Grey. It's weird that I know her more as the Bond girl from Goldeneye.
Oh,
Um, and she was the mom in the Taken movies.
she was.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that. I haven't
yeah.
seen any of those. So
She was the mom slash ex wife in the Taken movies. My favorite one is James Marsden as Cyclops, just because when you watch the Sonic the Hedgehog movies now, and you're like, hey, I know that guy. We got a few more. Bruce Davidson. I think he was. Who was Bruce Davidson in these films? I don't even remember. He was. Senator Robert Kelly. He was Water Guy, Jellyfish
Okay, yeah.
Man.
I was gonna guess that, but I wasn't sure.
And then Anna Paquin as Rogue. And then the other major one I note is Rebecca Rummagin. I think that's how you pronounce her name, as Mystique. And I forgot that Mystique was recast at one point because I thought it was Jennifer Lawrence the entire time.
Oh no, that's young Mystique. Just
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence would have been a baby at this point. Not
True.
like a baby, but she would be like a kid.
True. Really funny too, because Rebecca Rumjin. I'm probably butchering that. She was also the voice of Lois Lane in the Death of Superman and Reign of the Superman animated films. Because her husband Jerry O'Connell is the voice of Superman in those films, which is just a really funny casting thing they chose. But yeah, X-Men. This film screams 2000.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hell, I'm surprised they didn't call it X-Men 2000 because like everything that came out in the year 2000 had that as part of the title.
Yeah, I mean, probably smart in their case. They went with just X-Men because my God, that movie. The theater like poster goes fucking hard.
Oh yeah,
like that is a fucking hard poster right there, and it fits that 2000s aesthetic pretty well.
Yeah, and Patrick Stewart almost turned down this role too, which is wild.
That would have been crazy because he is legitimately perfect for this role.
Because they like, I'm trying to because I listened to the audiobook of his memoir recently, and he talks about that a little bit towards the end, and I think it was something like they brought it to him like as a sci-fi thing, and as soon as he heard sci-fi, he was like, nope, done with that shit, not doing another one. And yeah, then they were like, no, like seriously, like just read it, like figure out, like like get a handle on what this is actually about. And once he actually like took the time to read it, he was like, okay, like I'll do this. This is good.
Yeah, it's very interesting how because I'm not a Marvel guy. I've said in the past, like I was Spider-Man mostly. I had an idea, but I've never really read X-Men anything. So when I watched this movie the first time way back in the day, I was very much just going and taking it at face value. It is a very good beginner's film, I will say.
For sure. I mean, this is definitely one of the first superhero movies that I like really got into as a kid. Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this when we did the Deadpool Wolverine episode, but every time I watch this now at the age I am, and I see Hugh Jackman, I'm like, wow, he's such a baby. Like, look at him.
Well, I
He's
think
such
about
a
this.
baby.
I think about it, and I'm like, I was 5 when this film came out.
Yeah, it's just wild. Like when you see like when we watch like Deadpool and Wolverine, and you see him like that, and you're like, yeah, that's what Hugh Jackman's always looked like. He's always looked like that hard luck, grizzled old man type of look. And then you go back and you actually watch the original, like, oh god,
I know,
oh
right?
god, I got older. Oh no.
It's so weird too, because like you look at the rest of the actors from this film, and a lot of them are super old now. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
For sure.
Meanwhile, like Patrick Stewart still basically stopped aging by this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy there. I joked earlier, James Marsden is the guy in Sonic now, which is really funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to, before we get into like plot, what do you think of the outfits, like the whole black leather change?
I mean, I feel like the movie wouldn't have worked on the wider audience if they had gone with the original costumes.
Because I was
I
thinking
think
about,
because at this point, like superhero movies haven't really been like established in the public eye yet.
Well, because I was actually thinking about this recently. Like, you look back at like the Batman, like the Tim Burton Batman universe films. Like, in all of those,
Mm,
Batman costumes were super different from what the comics were doing at the time.
yeah,
Thinking about stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, superhero. They really were trying to make them look like less superhero like and more film like. It's like you
yeah,
think about it, and I was like, the first real superhero costume that was like comic accurate was probably Spider Man from like the modern era.
yeah. That's true. And like I feel like the black leather kind of fits the vibe they're going for because like they, 'cause I've read some of the comics, so I don't know how right I am with saying this, but I feel like in this version, they're trying to make the X-Men seem like more of a kind of covert force, if force is the right word.
Well, they were really
Um,
playing up like the racism aspect of it in this one,
yeah,
which
which is like
is
it's definitely a big fact. I mean, that's kind of what the X-Men are based off of, really.
yeah.
Like,
Well, they were really pushing that in this film, but they were like they really made a big point about them being very much a lot of them were underground and hidden from society.
well, there's a big reason why they start this movie with a scene from the Holocaust. Like,
Yeah,
they're making that connection on purpose.
exactly. Um, yeah, because I was thinking about it watching this, and I was like, I actually dig the black leather suits because they do have like the little gold, Logan's suit has little gold accents. I was like, okay, they're at least keeping it a little bit like referencing.
Yeah, and we'll
Um,
we'll, we'll get it eventually, so it's fine.
yeah, the only thing is in hindsight now, after seeing Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm just sitting there going like, they could have made it work. They could have
It
made it
wouldn't
work.
have it wouldn't have been nearly as epic if they had done it with
No,
the first one.
no, they wouldn't have. But like, it's just so
Maybe
fun.
like maybe like after like they reset the timeline with like Days of Future Past, like if they had done something then,
Mm,
it would have been as effective or at least more effective. But if they had done it now, I don't think it would have had the same impact.
yeah. No, the black leather worked for the time, and I didn't hate the black leather because I think the comics kind of adapted that look for a bit too.
Mm-hmm.
But very interesting. Some of I will say some of the effects in this film, they definitely scream early 2000s.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
for
my
sure.
favorite is when Magneto picks up Logan and just kind of throws him across the subway. I'm like, he's T-posing. There he goes.
Yeah, or even like the first time you see Logan like shoot his claws out when in a bar fight,
Oh, yeah, it kind
and
of
you
like
get that
it's like
close up on his knuckles,
hello.
and it's just like, oh yeah, that's a fake hand.
Yeah, it was like hello there. Um,
The healing effects though were really good.
those are
Those look
pretty
good.
good. My favorite scene is the scene in the when we first get introduced to Logan in the fighting arena, and like the comical like metal pinging sound every time he gets
Yep.
hit.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, that okay.
You know what it kind of reminded me of? Because like I just want to establish this here. I've never actually watched a Twilight movie, but
I
my
haven't
my
either.
wife, it's my wife's guilty pleasure is the Twilight movies. So occasionally I'll just like catch scenes when she's watching it when she's going through a binge. And apparently it's a thing in the Twilight universe where like the vampires are for some reason like really dense so that when they like hit each other, it like yeah, it sounds like smashing concrete or something. It's like a weird like hard kind of sound like that. And that's what it was reminding me of.
Mhm.
Like that just really silly.
Yeah, I get just the way it was filmed in this. It was just like they hit every time they hit Wolverine. It's just like ping, ping. I'm like,
Yep.
no one's gonna notice that. Like, no one's gonna notice that. Like,
Yeah, right.
um, effects that were good though. I still think the Mystique effects were really good.
Yeah, like the way they handled like the way she transforms into different people. Um,
Apparently, the
like even
makeup
from the very
process.
first, like it looks really good.
Apparently, the makeup process for doing the Mystique look was brutal on like both actresses.
Oh, I believe it.
Like, it was everything about it sucked. Like, especially during this era, like where like getting this all this makeup and like cosmetics done took like hours of them just sitting in a chair.
And you know, it's funny, like thinking back to like friends and acquaintances from around this time when this movie was big, or rather like when the original like X-Men trilogy was big in general.
Hmm.
Uh, the character of Mystique, I feel like awakened a lot of fetishes in people.
Yeah, especially when you look really deep into what she can do. Because
Yeah, because I've like I look back and I remember like kids my age talking about Mystique, and I'm like, oh, like, oop. Yeah, they were doing something there.
yeah, that didn't do anything for me at the time. I'm not gonna lie. Um,
No, me neither. But
I was a bit more.
I noticed it. I noticed it in others for sure.
I liked her more just because she looked super uncanny, like at all times.
Well, yeah, it's the Uncanny X-Men. That's the title.
Ah, um, yeah, no, she's like the which is ironic because she's not an X-Men, never has been. But
Yeah, well, except for in the First Class, she was an
right,
X-Men there.
right.
She was one of the original X-Men.
I don't know Marvel. Um,
You've seen the
anyways,
movies.
yeah, but it's been a while since I've watched most of these.
Fair enough. I like watched all of them when Deadpool Wolverine came out, so I'm like, they're all relatively recent in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, the only one of these I ever saw in theaters was Days of Future Past. I saw most of them after the fact.
I don't think I saw any of them. I think Deadpool Wolverine is the first quote unquote X-Men movie I saw in theaters.
Yeah, no, the only one I remember seeing was Days of Future Past because I got tickets to go see it for free, and I was like, sure.
I mean, if you were gonna go see one in theaters, that was probably the one to do.
Yeah, yeah, in a lot of ways. Um, so I don't know exactly where to go with the plot for this one.
Uh, well, I mean, we can just kind of go with our usual Geek Addict style and kind of just bounce around. But
Hmm.
going back to the beginning, uh, I forget her name. The actress who plays Rogue is trying
Uh,
real hard to do the Southern accent, and it's not hitting at all.
Anna Paquin, Quinn, I think her name is.
I'm just gonna
Um,
call her Rogue.
yeah, you can call her Marie or whatever her name was.
Yeah, I think every girl from the fucking 2000s is named Marie,
Yeah,
or has it as their middle name at least.
she's gonna
Um,
become an unnecessary goth character in an RPG years later. Um,
yeah. Uh, but yeah, she like I don't know, like, and maybe it's just because I watched like the revival of the X-Men cartoon because I had forgotten like everything about like actual X-Men. But she's a completely different character here.
oh yeah, no, the best part I was watching it the whole time, and I'm like, that's not Rogue. And then like the ending scene after the she gets freed from that like death doom machine when she has the hair, and I'm like, oh, there she is. Now she's Rogue.
Yeah,
I was like, it makes sense now.
kind of.
It was
Because I feel like
much closer by that
because I
point.
mean, like actual Rogue is like the most powerful person in that whole fucking thing. But
Oh, that scene where she like they show her like kill her boyfriend at the start. I was like, oh my god, like that's fucking horrifying.
I mean, this movie gets pretty dark at points.
Oh yeah,
First of all, and especially because like thinking back to like say Deadpool and Deadpool 2, whenever like they're trying to recruit Deadpool and like, oh, you can't kill, you can't do all this shit, and then you go back to these old X-Men movies and like they're killing people left and right.
Wolverine kills attempts to kill multiple people, but I mean he always had. It's really funny that like
Well, even Storm zapped someone with lightning, and he didn't live.
yeah,
And then
what's her
fucking
what's
I mean,
oh,
I don't know if you can attribute it to Cyclops or Jean Grey, but I mean they kind of tag teamed Sabretooth and killed him.
did he die?
We never see him again in any of the movies except for
Did,
flashbacks.
well, no, he's back in Deadpool and Wolverine, and then he dies.
That was just a variant. That's fine.
Same actor though. um,
I mean, he flew just as far as Toad did, at least.
I hate that that character's name is Toad because the entire time I'm sitting on screen and waiting for him to go hi.
You ever see the fucking like what was your reaction when he fucking eats the bird? That always skewed me out as
I
a
was
kid.
just like, it was like, oh, lovely.
There's
That
actually a
was
lot of
good.
parts. There's actually a lot of parts in this movie that kind of skewed me out when I was a kid.
I was actually thinking too. This is like the most tame like Logan in these films because like he barely does anything like with his claws
And then he stabs a teenager
and Mystique.
and Mystique in like the exact same way, pretty much.
Yeah. Because you'll notice in like the later films, like whenever Wolverine's doing anything, they always put him like way in the back because they're like, we can't go beyond PG-13.
Hmm.
Back there, back there with you, so it doesn't look violent.
Yeah.
And then then they said fuck it and finally made Logan rated R, and he just let him go fucking to town.
Yeah. Which is still arguably one of the best X-Men movies, if not the best.
Logan's up there. I mean, it's based off one of the greatest stories too.
Hmm.
Um,
But yeah, the effects, like whenever Rogue uses her powers, like where it kind of like brings out like the veins in the face and like kind of gives them that like sunken look. That always freaked me out too when I was a kid.
yeah, I've seen so much. I think it's just like the fact that I saw Akira so young just kind of like desensitized me to stuff like that because I'm always just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it kind of took me a while to build up my tolerance, my ability to handle some of the more hardcore shit.
I mean, I saw The Fly pretty young too, so that probably also affected me a little bit.
That's fair.
I'm trying to think too, like other characters. Cyclops' beams are fine. That was an okay effect. He's probably the
Plus,
most like
for
spot on character, I guess.
the most part, I don't remember too much about how Cyclops was in
I
in
always
the
remember him as
comics
like
and the cartoon.
he's kind of like the goody two shoes, like perfect guy, always like
Yeah, he's kind of like the golden boy.
that scene though, like later on where like they steal his visor and stick him directly in front of Jean. Oh, they're like, "Don't open your eyes, it'll be bad."
Yep.
I was like, "That's fucked."
Yep. Also, well, if we're talking about that scene, like early on in that like big fight at the end, Jean basically just like catches Toad in the air and he's just kind of like stuck there in the air. So like it establishes right there that she has at least enough telekinetic ability to be able to lift a person and just keep them in the air.
Hmm.
Why didn't she just do that to Sabretooth?
It's a good question.
Would have made things a lot easier.
It sure would have.
That whole big fight, like, oh no, we gotta get the like Logan needs to go get the visor and we need to hover that over so that we can redirect the laser and knock him off. No, just fucking levitate him and Wolverine can just chop his fucking head off.
I will say, like, one of my favorite scenes is when they're first like invading that museum and Mystique clones Logan, and then it's like two Logans, what do we do? And eventually when he ends up taking out Mystique because she's disguised as Storm, and he sees right through it. But
because he can smell real good.
yeah. But my favorite line is when Logan runs into Scott Jean, and they're like, "How do we know it's really you?" And he's like, "You're a dick," and he's like, "Yeah, it's him."
Yeah.
I'm like, "That's good."
Yeah, that whole fight with Mystique there, like, there's a point when she's still disguised as Logan where she puts out the claws, and he hits her with his claws, and it like
breaks
cuts her
through.
claws off. What was he cutting off? Because that's still part of her body, whether she's transformed or not, or like whether she actually has claws or not. Still part of her body, so something had to come off.
I mean, she screams in pain, so I mean,
Exactly. So like,
something's
why does she look completely fine afterwards?
uh Mystique logic. I don't know.
She should be bleeding all over the fucking place, regardless of what he got off.
Yeah, I did love that scene though, where it's like they find that one security guard later, and they're like, "Wait, this one's still alive," and you can see the 3 stab marks, and it's like, "Oh, okay."
Typical. Yeah, it turns out
What?
Mystique is like the most dangerous out of all the villains.
Oh yeah, we'll be seeing her many more times. Um, I was thinking like one of another scene too that's really iconic is the scene of Magneto like in that machine doing the radiation thing for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
That scene's fucking creepy. Like just like the facial expressions he makes while he's up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you later get that wonderful scene of the senator like phasing through the fucking metal bars, and it's like his face is all like fucked up, and I'm like, that's a 2000s effect for you.
Yeah, right. It's just like the
Yeah.
um,
Uh,
going back to the cage fight, I love the part where like the announcer for the cage fight like pulls Logan's opponent aside, just like, hey, whatever you do, don't hit him in the nuts. And he's just like, what do you mean? I thought everything went. He's like, yeah, but he'll take it personal.
yeah.
And that comes around later because when he's fighting Mystique, she hit at one point, like she's actually like kind of dominating the fight, and then she hits him in the nuts, and that's when he turns it around because he's so fucking pissed about it.
Yeah. You never go for the nuts. That's such a cheap shot.
It's the one part that isn't reinforced by adamantium.
Yeah. uh, I love how they too when they're like examining him, like they do like the whole like skeleton thing, and like they're like, damn, it's like we don't even know how he ages anymore. He could very well be older than you, Professor.
Considerably, actually.
Yeah. And they're like, how did it happen? It's like he doesn't know, and it's like I'm sure we'll find that out in a movie later.
Yeah, we'll definitely find out in the sequel, or like 3 movies from now.
Yeah, in a spin-off series that only got one entry.
Yep. So during that scene, because they do the whole thing like when they get like after they get picked up by them and they go to the school and Patrick Stewart's like, oh, you know, we got to keep you here for so and so amount of time to try and figure out why Magneto wants you, and then you know I'll help you figure out where you know figure out getting your memories back and shit, like where you come from. And as they're like examining his X-ray, they're like, oh, like what's going on here? Like, why does he need this? And Patrick Stewart's like, I'm not really sure it's him that he wants.
Yeah,
And
they're not even
but then
subtle
later
about
on, but that's the thing. It's like later on, fucking when Rogue takes off, and Logan's like, oh, I want to go after her, and he's like, no, it's just the chance Magneto needs to get you. And then they take Rogue, and it's just like, dude, you should have known, because if you even suspected that Logan wasn't the one he was after, the only other fucking mutant there was Rogue. Obviously, it's Rogue.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a weird foreshadow.
And he's supposed to be a smart guy. Like,
I mean, everyone has their moments. What was another good scene? I do love the scene like when Rogue's trying to stow away in Logan's shitbox trailer, and he's like, "No, get out of here." And he drives off, and he's like, "All right, fine."
Also, with the bar scene, like this last time that I watched it, first time I ever actually realized that they were in Canada.
Yes.
I had no idea, like literally the entire time. I've watched this movie so many fucking times. I didn't until this last time realize they were in Canada, and it was the tip jar that gave it away.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's not America money.
Those aren't freedom dollars.
Yeah.
Instead, we got a toonie in there.
Yeah.
Don't ask why I have a toonie.
It was like, there's Monopoly money in here. What the fuck?
I that part where like they fucking crashed the fucking trailer and it just burst into flames. I was like, okay, sure, that makes sense.
Well, you know what was funny about that scene? I love how like literally Rogue is giving him shit for not wearing his seatbelt, and the second he's essentially telling her to go fuck herself, they hit the tree and he goes flying out the fucking windshield.
Oh, it's like, oh, and he turns into a dummy because that effect is so goopy because he's like, whoa, and I'm just like, okay.
Yep. It was so funny.
There are moments.
The humor in this movie is pretty on point.
It's kind of unintentional humor though. That's kind of what makes it even funnier because there's so many points where I'm like, oh, that effect is so dated. And then you watch it, you're like, yeah, this is great.
It's like dark humor, but PG-13 dark humor.
Mm. Yeah, this movie is really like a big like a time capsule. I think the thing that really helps this movie stay as well regarded as it is honestly the acting and writing. Because the acting and writing is still phenomenal. The effects are all over the place. But yeah, the writing is phenomenal.
The character work is what really makes it shine through, in my opinion.
Also, it manages to do that thing that superhero films have always struggled with, and it makes an ensemble cast work.
Yeah, for sure.
which is
It's
something.
one of the reasons why the X-Men has always been like the one Marvel team I actually gave a shit about is
Mm.
probably these movies.
Well, it's a reason why at the time the X-Men and Spider-Man were Marvel's only really successful comics. That's why they were the ones that were snatched up really quick.
Hmm.
And the ones that took the longest to get back, basically.
Yeah, no kidding. We're still waiting for fucking X-Men to be put into the MCU. It's gonna
Uh,
happen. It's
Doomsday.
taking a long time.
Doomsday. That's what this sounds like. I believe because I believe a lot of the actors from this film are reprising their roles. So
Yeah, Cyclops is coming back. I think Jean Grey is coming back.
Rebecca Romajan is coming back as Mystique too.
Oh wow, okay.
I noticed she's credited, so that'll be interesting.
We're not doing Jennifer Lawrence anymore. I see.
Well, it's older. They're going for the older character, I guess. So
Yeah, but I mean they've been playing a lot with multiverse and timelines
true.
and shit like that with Marvel, so they could pull fucking anybody really. Anybody who's ever been an X-Man, they could pull. They could pull the
True.
fucking kids from New Mutants if they wanted.
I forgot. I forgot that was technically the last film in the Fox universe.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it's
it's
rough,
bad.
isn't it?
It's bad.
It's real bad. It's real bad.
Yeah, it's worse than Dark Phoenix, which was also really bad.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Although I still say, as an overall experience, I still liked it more than Fan Four Stick.
well, Fan Four Stick's just really bad. Like Fan Four Stick makes the original 2005 film look like fine art.
Yeah, which while it's not fine art, it's still an enjoyable experience.
True, true. The original Fantastic Four movie, it's not
It's
bad.
fine. It's fine.
It's goofy and dated, but it's fine. I still think the best Fantastic Four movie ever made is the '94 canceled one, but
Fair enough.
um yeah, it's really funny to me though, like
All right,
the
hang on with the beer.
yeah, no worries. Um it's pretty funny though, like just like the way Hugh Jackman would end up becoming like the quintessential like superhero actor.
As Ryan Reynolds puts it, he's the X-Men. The X-Man.
What's funny is he had the record for the longest time as the longest running like single actor as a character.
Mm.
And then he ended up losing it after Logan because there was a decent break. And then he very briefly regained it with Deadpool and Wolverine.
Mm.
Until people realized shortly after that actually Wesley Snipes stole the record from him
Yep.
because of the gap between
In the
Blade
same
films.
movie.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, that is kind of funny, but also damn, that's rough.
So now he has to appear in the MCU again.
I
And then he'll
noticed.
win because
I
Blade, I believe, is being recast
I
for
believe it is
MCU.
if that movie ever comes out because I've heard it's a development hell thing right now. Um, it's kind of funny though. Like I noticed, like Wolverine is distinctly absent from the MCU, like the new films and stuff, and I'm like, I wonder if they're just afraid to recast him.
I mean, I'm just saying, I think they got it right in Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, if you're gonna recast him, I think fucking what's his name, who we saw in that movie is like perfect.
Oh, Cavalrine.
Yeah, the Cavalrine. He's the one. He's the one. Like, if we're gonna replace him, that's the guy.
That would be interesting, like getting Superman to play Wolverine.
Because I've seen bits and pieces of his performance as Geralt in The Witcher,
Oh no, he's a
and
phenomenal actor.
it's the same kind of vibe he's going for as far as like, the kind of in your face, I don't take no shit kind of guy.
I am a strong believer that he got screwed as Superman. Like he could have been probably the greatest Superman, like since Christopher Reeves,
Yeah.
because he got hampered by some horrible fucking scripts to work with.
Hmm. But yeah, I was just saying, like if we're actually gonna move past Hugh Jackman, that's probably who we should go with.
Hmm.
It's kind of a no-brainer.
Well, especially because the Hugh Jackman from this film and like all of like the Fox universe is technically dead.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Deadpool used his skeleton as weapons, so
this is true. This is true.
I mean, there
But
is the Deadpool and
I mean,
Wolverine guy,
Scott was
but
also obliterated, and he's gonna be back. So I guess that doesn't really matter that much.
well, death means nothing in comics, so
Exactly. So it's fine.
yeah. I mean, we have a perfect Wolverine that's just kind of chilling in the Deadpool universe because I think even Ryan.
Which is part of the MCU because they go into like the Loki setting. So
Oh yeah, because that scene because I think Ryan Reynolds actually said like that one scene of Deadpool in like in Thor's arms is apparently canon. So
yeah, looking
it'll
forward to
happen.
that.
It'll happen someday. It's kind of
Waiting.
weird because like I've seen pictures of Ryan Reynolds lately. I'm like I forget he's like old now. I'm like how long is he gonna still be able to do Deadpool?
Hey, here I thought he was still Van Wilder.
I know, right? Well, now he's too busy in lawsuits, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Um, it's really weird too. Like I was the whole time this is a relatively short film. I guess remember movies used to be like under 2 hours back in the day.
It's hour 45 max.
Yeah. This is a quick
Unless you're Lord of the
film.
Rings.
Oh, that's different. I'm pretty sure he was the start of like films being long.
Hmm.
Um, I will say though, like this is a really quick film, and it is a very simple to follow film.
Yeah, it's yeah, for sure. I'd say so. Also, I one thing I noticed the last time I watched it, Magneto's crew there, the Brotherhood of Mutants, which kind of hard to call it that when you only have like 4 members, but anyways,
And only
um,
one of them really does anything.
I noticed that they followed the structure of the OG DBZ movies.
Hmm.
They have the big tough stupid one, the one with the weird power, the pretty one, and the boss.
Yes.
It's like literally like the exact same setup. Apparently that structure works.
Yeah. I was actually surprised rewatching this. I forgot how small the team was on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah, they kept it pretty bare bones for this one for sure.
It's also not a massively fan servicey film. Like you feel like from that era they would have been like jumping into the fan service left and right.
No, I'd say Spider-Man was more fan servicey than this.
Yeah, and even then that's a stretch.
I don't know. Fucking Mary Jane was beaming in that one scene.
Fair. That's one character though. Like nowadays it's like I mean maybe it's because I've watched all the Fast and Furiouses and those films have just like butt shots to have butt shots. Um,
Fair enough.
I'm just used to movies doing that and not focusing on plot. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's fun. I'm actually thinking about it now. It's funny how the plot points in this film are so simple and concise that it's like we've kind of covered everything.
For the most part. I mean, there was like a bunch of stuff like while they were like at the school, but it was mostly just kind of stage dressing for the most part.
Yeah, like there was the cute scene of Rogue in the classroom, and the guy in front of her is like playing with a lighter and making like a fire like rose, and then Iceman freezes it and gets him in trouble, and then makes his own ice rose up in the corner.
Which is really funny too, because like, well, first of all, just saying the fact that he can freeze fire,
Yeah, that
like
totally
that
makes sense.
alone is wild. But then like later on in X3, he's like struggling against the same character.
Yeah. Well, X3 is a poorly written film, so I'll give it I'll give them some grace there.
I'm just saying, I thought it was kind of weird.
I have a strong feeling that the people who made X3 did not watch X1 or 2 when they made the third movie.
Yeah.
Just a hunch.
Yeah, I suppose. Also, so at the end of the movie, right, when Rogue's in the machine and they finally get to her and Wolverine's about to stop it. So by that point, the machine hasn't affected anybody. Like nobody within the bubble is not a mutant.
Hmm.
And she was like fucking dead, pretty much.
Yes.
Like to the point where like her ability to like steal Logan's healing power didn't kick in right away because she was that close to death. So Magneto's plan was kind of already fucked because if she was that close to death already, the machine would have crapped out and it would have like it might have gotten the world leaders, maybe, but like it wouldn't have gone any further than that.
Yeah.
Like because she was like that close to death. Like there's no way. Because they were like, oh no, it's gonna like affect the whole city of New York. Like, no, it's not. It's not even.
I was gonna say though, like Magneto's defeat in this film is so fucking pathetic.
Well, yeah, because he purposefully put himself in a vulnerable state.
And then he just gets shot in the back, and I'm just like, oh, he's down.
That's one of the reasons. Like I mean, it's a really iconic thing. Like in X3 when he fucking lifts the Golden Gate Bridge and fucking just flies it over.
Yeah.
Like, that's the point where we actually start to really showcase like just how fucking powerful he is.
It's one of the few good things that movie did, yes.
Yeah, because you don't really get to see any of that until that point. You know, I mean, he can keep Wolverine down, but that's about it.
I've always loved that. Like the most iconic X-Men character is utterly nerfed by their main villain.
Yeah.
Except for that 90s period where they ripped all his adamantium out and it was weird.
That is weird. Also that scene at the train station where they're like walking out with Rogue and like Patrick Stewart's trying to stop him, but he's like mind controlling Sabretooth and Toad.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And and Magneto uses his power to like fucking aim all the guns and like he shoots that one gun and the bullet's just spinning in that guy's forehead.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I noticed that a lot of people make really funny noises throughout. Like, he's just like,
yeah. The acting is great in this movie, but there are some cringy moments where I'm just like, oh no.
Did you catch the Stan Lee cameo?
I did not. Where was he?
He was on the beach when what's his face where Jellyfish Man was crawling up on the beach.
I'll have to rewatch. I was more just like trying to figure out like what the hell was going on in that scene.
I was looking for him the whole time. I'm like, wait a minute, he's probably at Jellyfish Man part. And I was paying extra attention when that part came up because they didn't like put too much attention on him like they usually do. It was just kind of like he was just among the crowd.
To be fair, his cameos, I'm actually surprised that he was doing cameos this early. Because his cameos didn't truly become a huge deal until the MCU films, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had some good ones in Spider-Man. I still think the best Stan Lee cameo is the one in the Ang Lee Hulk film where he's just chilling with Lou Ferrigno.
About right.
But other than that, oh yeah, what the horrifying, one of the most horrifying scenes in this film is the fucking when the senator melts.
Yeah, that freaked me out when I was a kid.
Even like Rogue's like not Rogue, Storm's reaction where she's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, right. He's just like, "Oh shit, I gotta get the mop."
so this is what happens when normal humans unlock mutant power, but they're not able to handle it. They turn into goop.
Maybe there's a reason why he hasn't mutated to that point yet.
Yeah. I was just like, damn. I'm like, that is a weird death. That's like it's what makes that death disturbing is the fact that it's not really graphic.
Mm-hmm.
He just turns into water and then just like sploots into all over the place.
But imagine how painful that process must be. Like that's rough.
Yeah. I mean, he was probably in agony the whole time.
Probably. Then,
I will say
it kind of sucks because he was just kind of getting that realization, like, oh, mutants aren't all that bad. They feel like almost exactly the way I do. Shit, and then he immediately dies.
Oh, that was a dark scene too, where like he asks like Storm, he's like, what are your thoughts on humans? She's like, I'm afraid of them, and he kind of has that realization. He goes, well, you'll have one less to worry about in this world, and then he just dies, and I'm like, well, that's fucked.
Hmm. Then Mystique just takes his place.
Yeah, for that ending.
Cause fuck it.
Because Mystique is always one step ahead.
Yep. Yep. Maybe
Um,
that's why X3 was so bad, is because she got like fucking she got her mutant powers taken away like almost immediately.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of reasons why that film is bad, but
Oh, also, what was that fucking weird shit she put in a Cerebro?
I have no idea.
And also throwing this out there, like, who built that machine? Like, obviously, like we know Cerebro, like they collaborated together on it. Who built the fucking like human mutation machine? Because like, yeah, you could say maybe Magneto built it, sure, but like he'd have to not only be an incredible engineer to be able to pull that off. He'd also have to have a very intense understanding of human biology to be able to trigger that mutation.
Mystique figured it out. That's my guess.
I didn't say like who the fuck built that? It's like where did this come from?
You know another scene though that was pretty like disturbing in hindsight.
What's that?
Before Jellyfish Man comes out of the ocean, they have that little gag with the kid who's like torturing the jellyfish on the fucking beach. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, that kid's gonna be a future serial killer.
Yep.
Anytime there's like someone who's killing animals, like as a child, it's like they always grow up to be serial killers.
It's still not as bad, I think, as the little girl who got beat by her mom for getting her cat rescued by Superman.
Yeah, that was a that was a dark scene.
She's like, oh shit! Like, what the fuck?
That's a scene that's jarring today. Like we were like, oh,
I can't believe that movie is almost 50 years old.
Yeah. God damn it. Actually, unrelated, but like I had a realization that the the Naruto pain fight is 15 years old now.
That's wild.
I saw that pop up yesterday, and I was like, fuck.
It's like a lot of things. Fucking Napoleon Dynamite's over 20 years old.
Such a dumb movie, but I love it.
We showed it to Xander not that long ago, and he loved it, which we knew he would. But like, it was just one of those movies that like it was such a fucking phenomenon when it came out. Like everybody was talking about it. And then when I finally watched it, I was like, this is what everyone's freaking out about.
It's so stupid. But
I still love the movie, but like it was just like it was a very like deflating moment. Like, this is what everyone's fucking talking about.
Oh, it's like when you watch like Superbad for the first time, and you're like, this is what people thought was like the funniest thing ever, and you're like, it's funny, but not because it's good.
Well, see, I thought it was funny the first time I watched it, and then every other time after that, it was like, this isn't funny anymore.
See, I didn't see it till years after, like we had Michael Cera and Fatigue and like all those guys, so I was just kind of like, it's funny, but I don't get the fucking appeal. But yeah,
I did like the little reunion, and this is the end though. A little Superbad reunion.
I mean, that movie's just stupid fun. Like that's a movie that knows it's dumb and goes with it.
I saw that movie in theaters.
Same. And oh, that was a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Going back to X-Men though, like I still think this I can't talk. I still think this sure, go with that. I still think this film holds up very well. It's probably one of the best old school Superman films now. Superhero films. I'm a mess right now.
Understandable. You think Rogue's parents are looking for her?
Probably not. They probably threw her out the second they found out she was a mutant, because that's just how this universe works.
I guess so. Also, it was like the not too distant future. The whole time, all these movies start with the not too distant future, but like not to jump too far forward, but like the second movie, they're playing In Sync.
Yep.
On the radio. So
I mean that's just a thing with TV like series that like take place in certain time frames, because like I'll never like watching Friends, like that started like the 94, and like the music in 94 was very of its time, and then you get towards the end of the series, you get like Disturbed and stuff on like billboards. I'm like, this is so weird.
Yeah. Also, I thought it was really funny, like at the end there, where when Patrick Stewart's visiting Ian McKellen in jail,
in the plastic
and
jail cell.
and he's being like, "Oh, what will you do? Like, if when the day comes when they pass a law just like that and everything else." And he's just like, "Well, I'll say this: I feel sorry for whoever tries to come into my school and try to stir shit up." And that's literally what happens in the next movie.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, like I enjoyed X-Men. I think we had decided for superhero films now we were gonna go back and do DC again.
Yes, but I was also kind of toying around with the idea, if you're amenable to it, of hitting at least one film that is not affiliated with either for the next one.
What were you thinking?
I don't know. I haven't really settled on one yet. I mean,
Because the thing is, there isn't a ton. That's why I'm wondering.
that's why I figured we just do one instead of doing two.
I mean, we could
I
watch
mean, there's
we could watch the Spawn film.
yeah, that's true. I was thinking like, I mean, there's like fucking Sky High.
Sky. Actually,
Like,
I'd do Sky High. Sky High would be funny.
you want to do Sky High?
Let's do Sky High next, and then we'll go back to DC.
All right.
But yeah, I think that should be good for now. I think next week you had reached out about doing Yu-Gi-Oh maybe next.
I would like to, yes. I mean, if we have to push it, we can, but I wouldn't be able to do it the following week. It would have to be the week after that. So,
I think I can do Yu-Gi-Oh. I can probably get that read over this week.
all right, it'd be like I think 7-ish volumes.
Okay.
It's one of those weird situations where it'll be like mid-volume that we'd have to cut it off just because of how we're splitting up Battle City.
Yeah, you can send me the deets and I'll get it. I should be able to get it done.
All right.
But yeah, so that was a good episode. I think this is good enough time to wrap it up before I lose my mind because I am tired. Once again, guys, thank you for joining us on Geek Addicts. You can find Geek Addicts on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. Be sure to check us out over on the Superpod Network. That is superpodnetwork.com, an awesome site where you can find all sorts of different podcasts, videos, blogs. We just had the newest Super Game Club challenge of Mega Man X2, and Matt just destroyed everybody. So be looking forward to the next game for that. But anyways, guys.
Goku 2.
Yeah. Gonna make it happen.
I am determined.
But anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us. We will see you all next time.
Have a good one.